Additional design features. There are a number of special design features that alter the appearance of the scorecard or add functionality. The 5 we will be talking about are rounded corners, pencil slits, foil stamps, die-cut windows, and second scores. Keep in mind that there may be an additional cost associated with these elements. If you're on a tight budget, you might want to avoid the features we discuss in this section, and most scorecards don't have any of these extra features anyway. Let's start with round corners. Round corners are the most common additional design feature we see, and that's perhaps 1 out of every 4 cards. It's good to know about them though, in case you want to incorporate them into your design. Round corners are popular with clubs that have a lot of walkers because they make the card less likely to get snagged in pockets like square corners can. Round corners also have a distinctive look that many courses want to include in their design. Because round corners are a feature predominantly used by walkers, most cards with round corners are 6x8s, because larger cards are typically found on courses with a lot of cart play. Round corners require slight changes to the grid and any borders you have on your card, but other than that, the rest of the design remains the same. After printing, the cards are run through a special machine that cuts the corners. Many printers charge a nominal fee for rounding corners to recoup the time doing extra trimming at the end. Pencil slits are the next most common feature we see after round corners. Like round corners, pencil slits are usually requested by facilities that have a lot of walking play because they are a very effective way to hold a pencil. Pencil slits can either be perforated or die-cut. We prefer die-cut pencil slits because the blade makes a clean cut all the way through, whereas perforations can tear if you're not careful. While we don't charge extra for pencil slits on standard orders, some scorecard printers do. We like to make pencil slits about 1 inch long, 1 inch apart, and about 1 inch away from any edges. This holds the pencil snug against the card and avoids any undue tearing. An important thing to remember with pencil slits is that if you print on a paper with special texture, the die may not cut all the way through because the paper is softer. Felt stock is one example of this. Double check with your scorecard printer whether or not that will be a problem with your stock, and make sure they have a plan if things get held up. Foil stamps are a feature we see occasionally, where clubs take part of their scorecard, usually the logo, and replace it with a foil stamp. Foil stamps come in many different colors and are made of actual metallic foil. First, a die or mold is created that matches the shape of the logo being replaced. Then, cards are run through a machine one at a time that uses heat and pressure to stamp the foil onto the card. The process can be time-consuming and labor-intensive, which coupled with the cost of materials usually makes foil expensive. But foil can really make your card stand out with its unique metallic look. Die-cut windows are another feature we see, where a window is cut in the card so that you can fold the card over to see your totals from the front 9 when you're figuring out the score at the end of the round. Die-cut windows are typically seen on off-center fold cards, either 4.5x12 or 6x12, with the front 9 on one side and the back 9 on the other. Altering the design to accommodate a die-cut window is fairly straightforward. You just need to make sure there's the same number of rows on the front 9 as the back 9, and that you've included an out column on your back 9. Also be aware that this window takes up room on your rules panel. Die-cut windows are another feature that requires additional processing after the cards have been printed, which usually makes them a more expensive addition to the card. Second scores are the final extra design element we will discuss in this section. Second scores are most commonly seen on 4.5x12 or 6x12 centerfold cards, with the second score usually between the 5th and 6th holes. This extra score line allows the player to fold the card over on itself so they can see their names, handicaps, and other information they need while they're playing the back 9. Some cards have multiple extra score lines. This card from the Olympic Club, for example, has a total of 4 score lines, 2 on the front 9 one in the center, and one on the back 9. Although we don't charge extra for additional scoring lines, some scorecard printers might. In this section, we went over some additional elements of the scorecard design that are not very common, but introduce additional functionality or a particular aesthetic to the card. Round corners are the most common extra design element we see. They require slight modifications to the design and some extra processing time. Pencil slits are another design element, and your walkers will appreciate them. Pencil slits can be perforated or die cut. We recommend die cut pencil slits because the perforated ones can rip. Foil stamps are a very rare design feature we sometimes see, where a course will take part of their card, usually the logo, and replace it with a foil stamp. This is time-consuming and expensive, but your card will really stand out. Die-cut windows are used on off-center 4.5 by 12 cards so that when you fold the card over, you can see your scores from the front 9 when you're adding up your totals. They require some minor design modifications as well, so you'll want to know ahead of time if you want to use this feature on your card. Second scores are the final additional design feature we see. Usually found between the 5th and 6th holes, they allow the player to see names, handicaps, and other info when they're playing the back 9.